anxiety,
Yes.
interrupted sleep,
Mm.
lack of concentration,
Yep.
social media dependency for gratification,
Yep.
reduced life competency.
Yeah, that's like reduced life quality.
All right, so hello.
Hello.
I bring you here, Isabel, today because I want to talk to you and the world about social media and how social media is affecting people. So I know this is one of my closest friends, and we like to talk about important stuff, and we think alike in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
it'll be cool to talk about this and merge our perspectives and see what's going on. How is social media affecting lives? You know what I mean? Like, it's important
Yeah,
to.
let's get deep.
Yes, let's get deep into it.
Let's get really
Let's
deep.
get into it.
Get really into it.
All right, so, sheesh.
Yeah, you got some questions?
So I do have some questions. I want to get my notebook because I have these like base questions.
You have written
but
down questions?
yeah, so basically these questions I gathered based on information that I was taking in from just doing a lot of research on the fear of missing out.
FOMO.
And yes, and I was like, how can I figure out if someone has FOMO based on a set of questions?
So
Kind of
you're
like a
trying to figure out if I
personality.
have FOMO, is what you're saying?
Nah.
This whole video is just so he can find out if I have FOMO.
Nah.
Wow, Julian.
That's
I
why I
could
didn't
have told
get.
you.
That's why I
Yeah,
didn't
I
get.
have FOMO.
Me too.
Everybody has the FOMO. Yeah. Oh, he was right. The mic was not going to stay there. It can stay here. I think it's good here.
Let's be like right. I'm gonna just aim it up a little bit.
Can you hear me, Mr. Microphone?
Hello, can you hear me? All right, you should be good.
All right.
Let's talk about what are your thoughts on social media, and let's talk about the back end of social media. Are you familiar with like algorithms being made in a way to make people legitimately addicted to their phones?
I think to some extent I'm oblivious, just like everybody else, but that's because I'm not creating the algorithms, I'm just living in them. So I feel like we kind of get lost in the algorithm because we are sucked into it and we have no control, and we're not conscious of it. We not everybody is conscious of the algorithm. That's why it is the algorithm. It's the thing that decides what to feed you and how to feed it to you, and what to show you, what to not show you.
It literally learns you.
Yeah, it literally learns you.
It knows you better
And
than
then,
you.
and then it shows you what it thinks you want to see. So, of course, I'm not going to be sitting here like, oh, Instagram is purposely showing me what I want to see. I'm just like, oh, I like this stuff.
Nice.
That's kind of like why the algorithm exists. It's not really to be in your face, hey, look, it's the algorithm. But it's just there to subtly ease its way into your I'm not going to curse.
Brain, I guess.
Into your brain and bloodstream. The algorithm soaks into your bloodstream.
We need some algorithm vaccines. Yo.
No, but then again, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious when you say something out loud. Like, I was talking about these cowboy boots I wanted. And then all of a sudden...
That shit pops up.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's just kind of weird because then you get deeper and you think, okay, well, Siri is always listening to me. I could go, hey, Siri. Siri in my other room.
From the other room.
Said, So
like she wasn't eavesdropping the whole time.
No, she's listening. How do you think they know I want cowboy boots?
She's always listening.
I think the other day somebody said, do you remember, I think it was like Shakira or J-Lo. I don't know why I'm getting the two mixed up. Don't come at me. But somebody was like, do you remember Shakira's brown hair phase, like at the beginning of Shakira? Or maybe it was J-Lo. And I was like, not really. Obviously, I don't know. But I don't remember. But then my Instagram showed me a bunch of brown hair era Shakira memes out of the blue. And I was like, what? Were these memes created for me? Like, Yeah, so that's weird. The algorithm is weird. It's too personal.
What type of stuff would you say comes up on your feed most of the time?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, like, I think a lot of people see, like, half naked women on their boyfriend's feeds, and they're like, oh my god, like, they're in his explore page, that's what he's looking at all the time. But then I'm like, okay, my explore page is like bikini woman, BBL, big boobies. And then it's like artwork, and then TikToks that have no, like,
Context.
I'm not gonna say substance or context, but like, there's no depth to them. Like funny, ironic TikToks. I'll get like a funny old meme of a picture of a sock in my explore page. Like, stuff that doesn't really make sense because I'm kind of random like that. And then, your usual workout stuff, cooking. I think what ends up in your explore page or in your, in your stream of stuff is actually pretty relevant. So I guess in that case, like, maybe the algorithm is kind of useful, but
It is.
yeah, I mean, you need it. I don't want to be, you'll never see like my feed, my explore page flooding with basketball memes. That's just not my thing. I mean, I love basketball. That's one of my favorite sports, but that's not me.
I feel that. My YouTube recommended is usually filled with like Alan Watts and like a bunch of like
Yeah, me
self
too.
development,
TED
like
Talks.
TED Talks,
Yeah.
motivational stuff. And that's where I feel like an algorithm can be beneficial, but like
Yeah, exactly.
it all depends on what you feed the algorithm about yourself. And what I guess the overall point of what I'm trying to film right now is to like inspire people to use social media in a healthier way so that
Yeah.
they're following and engaging with posts that bring more value to them so that the algorithm can start to do that
Yeah,
for them
an
too.
abundance
Yeah.
of all that stuff.
And I feel like the way that the algorithms are right now, sometimes I feel like it pushes more negative stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And my Siri's listening to me now. Wow.
Whoa. His Siri's really, like, everything he's saying,
He's just
it's like
writing it
writing
out.
it out.
Oh my gosh.
That's weird, man.
But you see, they're trying to get me. They're trying to get us. They're
Well,
trying to
like
stop
the
this
Chinese
conversation.
youth.
Stop them.
Wait a second.
They got our plan.
Wait, they cracked the formula.
I was watching this interview of this guy. He said he wrote a book called 10 Reasons Why You Should Quit Social Media Now, like right now or something like that. His background, he invented VR.
Whoa.
And he just has a long background in Silicon Valley, which is like where all the big
Yeah.
tech companies are. And he created that book, so he knows all the inside stuff and understands it. And he was saying how, like, a lot of people are skeptical. Like, is this something that's intentionally done, or is this just innovation gone wrong? You know?
Yeah.
And it seems like
Ooh,
it's
that's a
more.
good question.
What do you think it is?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Both.
I think maybe it started innocent, especially when Steve Jobs was alive, even though I don't know much about that. I think it started with good intentions, and then slowly over time, something happened where they started to realize how they could take advantage of it. Maybe all those negative things are showing up in our feed because those are the things that are going to get more views and likes. And honestly, views and likes in this world equal money. Like, I think a lot of what's driving all of this social media stuff is money, money, money. So, whoever is making all of this stuff is definitely taking into consideration how they can benefit as well,
So what you just said is like completely accurate because
Yeah.
basically the consumers are the audience, I guess we can say, the viewers, the users of the apps are technically the product when it comes to companies going to the social media platforms.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
they're buying our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where it becomes a proper innovation gone wrong, because now it's like something that's so money driven, and all these companies, they're not going to have anybody buying their products or seeing their products anymore if they essentially just decided to stop all of this or make any severe changes to it. And yeah, I would love to see a change. I feel like, what do you think can be done to make social media better?
Better? Nothing. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's so much out there to discover, like the deep black hole of Reddit. You know, there's so much stuff like that. We don't even really take into consideration that the internet has an entire, like, dark web, underweb type thing. Like, the internet is not just what you see on the surface. The internet has a whole
Depths.
illegal market. I mean, there's terrible things on the internet. There's human trafficking on the internet. There's child porn on the internet. There's videos of people murdering each other in cold blood that, you know, nothing will ever be done about that. And I feel like the more we continue to dig deeper and deeper into this, like, you know, with the metaverse now and like all the virtual reality stuff, I really see absolutely no reason for a reversal. Unless something happens similar to what happened with cigarettes, which is they realized, okay, this is detrimental to our society. However, you have to remember that every single person, policeman, policewoman, lawyers, you know, people who are part of the government, your parents, the people who make the technology are also heavily addicted. So
True.
if whoever wants to get the world to break away from this, because I feel like that is actually the only answer, is to quit. It's like asking what's a healthier way to smoke cigarettes, you know? Like, it's not
What's
possible.
a healthier way to drink and drive?
Yeah, like, there's no healthier alternative, but
Yeah.
whoever says let's quit this forever has to be like that guy you were just talking about, the 10 reasons why you should stop right now, where he has that actual knowledge. He probably has that addiction and has consciously made the decision to stop. So it has to be somebody who is strong enough to make that conscious decision to get rid of the addiction.
Outside of ourselves having FOMO, what are some signs that would you say, identify if someone has FOMO? Like, what would determine if someone has FOMO in your eyes?
The fear of missing out.
Yes.
Well,
What does FOMO mean to
yeah.
you?
FOMO is probably what every single person on this planet experiences until they realize that the person they are feeling FOMO from definitely feels FOMO themselves.
I was gonna say, is that person is themselves? I think we're about to get like super philosophical.
The person who experiences FOMO
is missing out
is
on
missing out on
themselves.
themselves.
But you know what?
That's
true as hell.
That's actually kind of my
That's
point.
so fucking
Yeah,
true.
it's so true. I mean, I think by having FOMO, we
Mm.
don't acknowledge the present, which is really important. You know, you open your phone, you see all these cute people at a party, and
You weren't invited.
yeah, and it's like, oh God, all of a sudden staying home is terrible. Meanwhile, if you flip that mentality and turned it into something positive, you could stay home and create,
JOMO.
yeah,
Joy of missing out.
the
Yes.
joy of missing out.
Yes.
You didn't just think of that, did
Nah,
you?
it's a thing.
That would be really, really smart. But yeah, like, you should just be like, okay, I'm glad I'm not at this party. I'm glad I'm over here doing this interview with my friend because we're going to make some shit happen. And those people at the party, they can have a fun time. No hate on them. But you have
I'm not wasting time.
Yeah, you're not wasting time. We're not out here spending money, drinking, and smoking. But yeah, I mean, you know, but then those people, they're at the party.
It's okay to have fun once in a
Yeah, it's
while,
okay to have
guys.
fun.
Please have fun. Like,
But
it's
those people
important.
at the party, they're scrolling through their phones, and they're like, look at Julian and Isabel at home doing a productive thing.
And then they end up having FOMO.
Yeah, and then they have FOMO. So it's like, where does the FOMO start and end? Like, what, you know, like, and I think it's
all in
all
here.
psychological, because realistically, like, how could you be missing out on something that was never intended to come in your path, you know? Like, you just have to have faith that what's meant for you is what's happening to you in the present moment.
Amen to that. I think going back to what you just said, like the other person basically experiencing FOMO,
Yeah.
like someone that we might be comparing ourselves to, is also possibly comparing themselves to the next person or feeling
Mm-hmm.
inadequate in an area of your life, of their life that you might be praising. Um, like a situation that resonates with this specifically is we lost a supermodel recently. You might have heard about this. She committed suicide in Times Square,
Oh.
and she
In
was
Times Square?
yeah,
Like off
like
of a
out of her
building?
apartment. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I look at situations like that because this happened like a week before I released FOMO, and I made
Yeah.
FOMO over a year ago. And the story of the song is supposed to follow a girl who basically seemingly has all the things that she needs,
Yeah.
and she lives a very comfortable life and lives a life that a lot of people want to live, but she still feels some form of void that needs to be filled internally.
I mean, is that why she killed herself? Do you think? I mean, I literally don't know.
Her situation had a lot to do with harassment on social media and like
Yeah.
people calling her different things and a lot of compounding of different things and
Yeah. So I guess FOMO like extends past like what people are doing. You know, like I'm 4'11", and sometimes I feel like I fear that I'm missing out on being like 5'5". You know what I'm saying? Like maybe she felt a lack of what she was, or maybe she felt so much what she wasn't, you know? And she had FOMO in that sense. But it's also kind of this stereotypical and unfortunately really terrible and sad situation where you will see a model killing themselves. You will see, you know, the most beautiful, popular girl in some suburban town killing herself, or, you know, just unlikely suicide, what society would consider unlikely.
right.
But then it's like we have to consider that
This is
even
a
the
human.
most beautiful people don't always feel so beautiful. And then honestly, like the internet, tormenting people on the internet just goes right back into all of those people who are in the comments tormenting you having their own FOMO. I bet half the people, 75% of the people who hated on her, like wanted to be her. And that's why it's sad. I wish I could just see her and say, like, they're missing out on you for real, you know?
Harassment sucks, especially on social media. I apologize.
Harassment. I'm sorry.
It really
Segue to a
does.
different mood, but
Nah, like even
yeah, it really does.
I feel like even this is another situation. Khloe Kardashian, for example,
Yeah.
it's like is Khloe Kardashian, and then always gets called out for photoshopping a photo and stuff like that. And like it's people like that. I want to be like, hey, listen, you're beautiful just the way you are. You got all this influence over these people. Let's influence people to be
Yeah, man.
you.
That's a really controversial
It
subject
is
because it's like you want to tell people it's okay to present yourself how you want.
how you are.
And like no, but how you want. Like it's you want to tell people it's okay to Photoshop. Like you want to tell people like you know, do what you want
How you
online,
feel.
how you feel, like if
Right.
that's what makes you happy. But then again, there is the other aspect where it's like, yes, you have freedom, and we appreciate these really well edited photos, but maybe in terms of spreading misinformation, it's not good for especially like young viewers who are now thinking that this is a real person when it's really not. But I feel like some would argue, well, that's just social media.
Right.
And so it's like this kind of paradoxical subject
I
that,
can see that.
you know what I'm saying, kind of loops back into itself. There's no like right or wrong answer. I feel like another really controversial topic like related to that, and this is controversial, is like fat shaming and telling fat people like you shouldn't be fat, you should exercise, you should be skinny. Like there's this, I forget who it is, this guy, like this main, what are they called, mukbangs? I don't know.
Yeah, mukbang.
Mukbangs. This guy started off, I forget his name, I'm so sorry, You'll have to put his name up on here, but he started off doing
Mukbang.
mukbangs, really, and he was vegan. I think he was really skinny. He was just an average weight, average BMI guy, and then the demand for his food videos went up, so he just got fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. And you look in the comments, and half of it is like, "Hey man, like, you have to lose weight. This is really unhealthy for you. You should have never gotten to this point just because there's a demand for your videos."
Yeah.
And then the other half is like, "Don't bully fat people. Like, that's a terrible thing to do to him. Like, he probably feels, insecure about it already." And so there's that similar fine line that's like, is it okay to tell him about his health, or are we fat shaming him now? And then also you have to take into consideration who biologically is just a fat person. You can't go up to a person whose mom is fat, whose grandma's fat, who just has, and honestly, I say fat fucking proudly because we have some beautiful fat people, a lot of, you know that.
Yeah.
But it's just, you can't go up to somebody who is bigger boned and say, "You aren't healthy, you have to lose weight," if that's just how they are. You know what I'm saying? So it's like also about like the social media, like Photoshop stuff. It's like, can you just say you're beautiful, don't change yourself? Or do you want to just say like, yeah, social media is about freedom and expression, and if this is who you want to be, then it's just kind of a double-edged sword.
It is a little tough. Yeah, no, I feel that. I think as you speak on the fat shaming topic, I I'm looking at it in a perspective of like in some cultures still today and in past history being
Fat is really
over
beautiful.
yeah, and
it
sometimes
is.
it signifies like power, wealth, or just like a bunch of different positive things that our society definitely I guess we could say American society. It depends on where you're from.
It's like Western
Yeah,
culture.
definitely
I
looks
also
down
think
upon.
another thing Western culture does is we don't have the same respect for our elders. So in another culture, like, the oldest, fattest person might be the most beautiful, well-respected individual wherever they're from. But here, you got an old fat guy, you want to move out his way, you know what I'm saying? There's no respect for how long he's lived, for just him as a person. It's kind of disgusting. Like, and I also think, America has a problem with fast food and overeating and unhealthy stuff. So part of our like obesity epidemic is genuinely an issue because a lot of these people aren't just naturally, big boned or just heavier. Like, they got to that point from what our society is telling them to eat and where to go and how to feed themselves. And I think that becomes a big issue. But yeah, I've definitely read about beauty in different cultures. I remember I had this book when I was younger that spoke about that, and you turn the pages and you just see like everybody from around the world. I think
Everybody's just different.
yeah, everybody's just different, and you realize there's really this like marginalized, like insanely like white, like cis beauty standard around a lot of people in America, and that's the FOMO pressure we feel on social media. That could be partially why that model wanted to end her life, just because we have these tight standards around what beauty is here. And I feel like maybe the world just deserves to travel. I wish we could all kind of rotate countries for a day, because, or, kind of like musical chairs. Like, if we could all get up and like run around and switch and sit back down somewhere else, we would see there's no reason to feel insecure. Because especially me, if I went to Japan where people are tiny, if I go to Mexico where people are tiny, I'm not going to feel so insecure about my height. And same thing with, like, I don't know, really tall people who don't feel like they fit in America even. Like, you go to Russia or somewhere where there's a lot of tall people and all of a sudden you feel at home. So who's really to define our beauty standards? I have no clue. That's
Other
why,
than ourselves.
yeah, it's ourselves. That's also why I really consider like everybody beautiful, and why like a lot of my partners in life have come in all shapes and sizes. Like I have dated fat people. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong with that. Like straight up.
Right.
You know? Like there's nothing wrong with that.
I admire the fact that that is your perspective, and I was gonna say originally that I admire the fact that you specifically embrace your height, and like it's in your title, like in it. You just make it awesome, and I think you're super awesome for that. So praise to you.
Thanks, man.
High five.
Oh.
You throw the feather.
Fluffs.
All right, let's see. Let me get the notebook now because I want to
Yeah.
see some of the questions that I have and some of the notes that I have.
I'm gonna make some.
ASMR.
I don't have nails. This is really pathetic. The notebook says plot in really like chicken scratchy, bold handwriting
Don't say that.
across.
Chicken scratchy.
I mean, I'm sorry.
I have the neatest handwriting. Oh, that handwriting. I think you're talking about
This
in
looks
the
like
notebook.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yes, this is the third book, the last straw, I think. The green one?
Yeah.
Alright.
No, but have you ever seen how the guy in Diary of a Wimpy Kid writes? Like, it's zoomed into his papers, like a little picture of what he's writing in the book. It looks like that. Like, it looks exactly like that.
My interpretation of FOMO from my own perspective is, well, one, FOMO can lead to. I'm looking at FOMO in different contexts. So there's different ways to view FOMO and the term FOMO when you apply it to social media. So I feel like some of the things that FOMO affects on us is anxiety,
Yes.
interrupted sleep,
Mm.
lack of concentration,
Yep.
social media dependency for gratification,
Yep.
reduced life competency.
Yeah, that's like reduced life quality.
Literally, emotional tension and negative physical well-being. So, for me specifically, I feel like FOMO's affected me on a making me anxious level of things. And what I mean by that is that when you're on social media and you're getting so much dopamine in your brain from like, people like this and people commented on that and people shared this and it's got this much this much that much love.
Yeah.
Especially when you've gone viral at some point, then you get
Want
an
more.
overflood of
Yeah,
that
it's like a
dopamine.
drug.
So then you need to constantly get to that again, essentially. I feel like that's affected me over the years in which I'm always trying to keep up with myself.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
the anxiety part of it is like there's always an anxiety that I have prior to going live or prior to posting something because I wanted to receive whatever monetary value it received that gave my brain that amount of dopamine that it's given
you
before.
wanted to hit that
The
number
same
of
way.
likes. You
Almost
wanted
like
to hit
someone
that number of
vaping.
views.
Someone
Yeah.
starts vaping and they really enjoyed their vaping for the first time, and then eventually they say that their vaping it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, like they don't get that same feeling when they take a hit.
And I guess that's literally just what an addiction is.
Yeah.
At the end of the
That
day.
kind of goes back to like, how do you end it? Well, you end it. How do you do good for your body while smoking cigarettes? You cannot, you know? So
Literally.
you have to quit cold turkey. But I mean, then how do you think social media can be impacted or used positively?
Bringing awareness.
Oh,
I
so
think
what
that's
we're
the
doing
first.
right
Yeah,
now, taking advantage of the fact that people will listen to us talk for 30 minutes.
I feel like that's the start of it.
Do you
The
think anybody will
awareness.
watch this?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. And if so, and if not, then I'm glad that it exists.
Yeah, right?
I think that's the important thing. And back to what I was saying earlier, outside is just like about bringing value to people. When you're providing value, it takes away the idea of, oh, this many people watched it, because it's more about what they're
you're
gonna get out of it.
It's like the difference between scrolling through Instagram and seeing we were just watching that video, and what's her name? Ronnie Rodriguez. Is that her name? Ronnie, R-O-N-I. Ronnie?
Rainy.
Rainy?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
You guys know who we're talking about.
Rainy Rodriguez.
She had a bunch of memes made on her, and like, oh, she's fighting with Beyonce, because just the most ironic, like, trolly, like, people just trolling the shit out of her memes. You know what I'm saying?
And the whole Beyonce part was just brought up out of the blue from somebody's idea.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like, it was.
And then everybody started running with it.
Like, just arbitrary. Like, that's the only word for it. Like, she had a bunch of arbitrary, meaningless meme attacks that feed into this generation's humor that's kind of like this humorless humor. Like, you could watch a piece of bread fall over and laugh. That was so funny. Like, I feel like it's the difference between that and like watching something like this, which is like they're both on social media. They're both there to feed your brain, but it's like choosing what you eat. You could choose to eat that bag of Doritos.
Like me and you went to get a chopped cheese when we could have gotten sweet greens.
We were like, should we get healthy? We were like, should we go get a salad, or do we want to just go get like deli sandwiches really quick? And so we like stood there and like we were like, oh, like Mr. Krabs meme, like, and then we just decided the unhealthy way. So I feel like social media is kind of like that. It's like you can choose what to feed your brain, but also inevitably certain things are just gonna stick a little harder. Like some really like meaningful, deep, cute, short animated film is that has like some crazy meaning behind it is gonna stick harder than like a LeBron James meme.
Despite the fact that sometimes the negative would attract us first.
Yeah, exactly.
But the meaningful stuff is the stuff that actually we retain.
Yeah.
We need to snap for that. Can I get a breathe in?
Just making a beat now. It's all about the beat.
You know the YouTuber Ralph Smart?
No.
Well, he's breathing that good old product. He's like,
breathing that good old what?
I don't know exactly what he says at that part, but it sounds like product.
No,
but nah,
mumbled what you thought it was.
Ralph Smart has to be one of the I mumbled that on purpose. I was like, you know what, let me just try. But he's definitely one of the most positive YouTubers I've seen. I came across him in like the midst of the pandemic. He was talking about everything that's gonna happen, and he's been pretty accurate.
Crazy.
But I got some questions here.
Okay, ask.
What do you post on Instagram, Snap, and TikTok? I already know the answer to this.
Well, I feel like I don't post conventionally. However, like recently, I think I have a bit more. But
intentionally?
Yeah, I would say it's intentional because I'm the type of person I don't care. I'll post anything online. Like, if I could post my nudes online, I probably would. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm open like that personally.
But society is another thing.
Yeah, all that stuff. But I think I like to provoke people's thoughts, but I also sometimes like to be a bit controversial. But I also like to pull myself outside of the social media while I'm still in it. So I'll post something, and then I'll screenshot that like I'll post like writing on my story, then I'll screenshot that, and I'll post like a little annotation of it, you know, like me analyzing what I just said, and then I'll post that again and say, well, what do you guys think about this? Like, instead of just posting something and leaving it up, I'll like go back and comment, or I'll comment on myself mid-video. Like, I'll be like, damn, it's interesting how like our brain psychologically affects us to make our hands shake when we're nervous, instead of, you know, just being like, I'm just like, you know what, guys, this is really funny right now. You know how this is happening? Because I feel like that's the way to like break your silence, the ice really with people. If you want a true like engagement from your followers, just literally to be yourself and to know how to take those awkward moments and like pull people into them with you.
Because they relate to it.
Yeah, so you can laugh at yourself with them instead of them laughing at you. And maybe that's like a little sad, but you are inevitably going to get people on social media who have something to say. So, I mean, I try to just post without fear. I've been posting a lot of pictures of myself and selfies recently, but I noticed that I used to post more videography and music and like random stuff. And I think the only reason for that is because I actually stopped caring as much about what I'm going to share if it doesn't feel like a final product. Like, I don't want to post my song drafts anymore because they'll only get a certain amount of likes or whatever. It's just, I want to post the final product at this point.
And then showcase the process after, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. But right now I'm kind of in this hibernation mode where I'm not sharing as much as I used to, just because I'm preparing all this work so I can release it soon, like the album I'm making, and, you know, all these video ideas that I want to make with you. We have to actually finalize them. And I think that's something that makes a professional Instagram or whatever, a professional whatever, is when you have actually curated the things you post rather than being like, here's a picture of me and my friend at lunch, here's a picture of me. But that's also not bad. That's what...
Yeah, sometimes it's good to, I guess, in a social media strategy perspective, it's good to hint those in once in a while, like once a week or twice a week or whatever.
I mean, but we're also thinking about it from the perspective of people who have goals of achieving
something in that realm.
Because most people, yeah, like, will just post their lives and it's just for their friends, and that's okay. They don't want 50,000.
Look what my dog found.
Yeah, exactly. Look at my dog's poop. Like, stuff like that. Like, it's just for their friends. Like, I know maybe my aunt has Instagram, but she's not aiming for 3 million followers, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just, like, influencers and people who are highly talented and want to share their work, or people who aren't talented and want to share their work.
Which I think we can say, following the birth of TikTok and over the pandemic, more people than ever before have wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's also because TikTok has made it so easy to go viral. But I feel like maybe sometimes it does take away from people who have spent hours upon hours on projects that will never get seen, because, you know, there are times I have posted, like, I was in Mexico and I was drunk with my family and I'm like hobbling up the stairs in this video and I'm holding a glass and I'm like, I turn around and I'm like, oh my god, my ass is so fat. And it's a genuine moment. It was funny. It had like over 200,000 views, maybe 300,000 views. But then I actually post my work and it gets like 500 views. And you're just like, how is this like stupid 5-second, 10-second video of me drunk in Mexico?
Stupid is the key to TikTok, my friends. There's no other way to put it.
Like, women's bodies. Just bodies in general. Like,
algorithm likes bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the algorithm. I think it's
the people.
Horny humans.
Yeah.
But I also think that's just how humans are. That's something else that I've had trouble coming to terms with, low-key, just how horny everybody is. Because there's a lot of over-sexualization. Next question.
The next question. That was a long first answer. But that's the beautiful thing about minds like ours.
Yes.
Because I'm not gonna blame it on the fact that you're a Scorpio, but
Go ahead.
we do tend to like really get into depth on things, and it's
We
not a
do.
bad thing at
I
all.
think we're just two smart people, man.
What influenced you to start posting on social media? Do you remember like what your first post was?
Not my first post, but I think I was doing some type of like, I was producing content that is actually relevant now without knowing it. So I remember when the iPhone first came out, when I first was allowed to have Instagram, and this was like really early Instagram days. I remember I painted my room in my childhood house, I painted it purple, and then I took a photo of like me after doing like maybe like a third of the room. And then I took a photo from the same spot after I had painted a little bit more. And then I took another photo and posted it after I had painted. So it was kind of like this like stop motion series of like little bit of paint after a little bit of paint, you know, just kept adding to it. But they were all individual posts, like on Instagram. It wasn't like
Yeah.
on TikTok. It would have been like, you know, like the process going really quickly. So like you would see like the wall being slowly covered up by the paint. But I just remember I posted like one photo of a third of the room painted, one photo of 2/3 of the room painted, and one photo of 3/3 of the room painted, or the whole room painted. So it was like I had these concepts that would have actually gone well with like today's, you know, it's what people want to see. It's not just a coincidence. Like I've always had these like kind of genius videography photo ideas, and I always used it as such because I feel like from the jump, from the start, I perceived it more as a template than as like, oh no, what content are people gonna like? It was more so we have a free opportunity to post in a square that gives us a place where we can write under the square. I would post things that directly correlated to the caption instead of, you know, the caption kind of being like the side serving of fries with the post. It was like the caption was just as meaningful. Like I remember early Instagram days, I would do like a blog on Instagram. You know, that's kind of what the original purpose was for. But now it's kind of like a free-for-all template.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. It's like, you're so organized, Julian.
How many? Ooh. I feel like I know the answer to this one because usually most of the time, I try to take a picture for it and it's just you know just one and done in the moment. But this is an important question because a lot of people, including myself, sometimes happens to take more than one selfie before choosing the one to post.
Oh, God.
They call it some people call it the Insta draft. So you're drafting which photo you want to post.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I won't lie, like, I get my friends to take so many, then I go through, and I do this thing where I heart, you know how you can heart in
You favorite them?
general? I
Yeah,
favorite them.
I do that.
So I favorite the ones that I would even consider posting.
And then you go through that.
Then I go through those on Instagram, and I like hold them down to create the multiple
Carousel.
sides
Mm-hmm.
posts. But the thing I have trouble with, and I will say, it doesn't take me long to decide what photo I want, but I have this weird problem where cropping the photo, like, I'll like slide it down a little bit, and I'm like, it looks a little bit good.
It makes a
And then
huge difference.
should I zoom in? Should I? What?
I said proportions make a big difference when
Yeah.
you crop.
But it's just ridiculous sometimes, like the difference in my head. Like I think I've spent like 30 minutes, after 30 minutes, just being like, should this little piece of the sign be in here? Should I cut my toes out? Like, should I zoom in on my shoulders? Like, I'm just like, you know, and then I get stuck. So it's like, and then you start to hate the photo. Then you start to be like, wait, do I even like this photo?
Then you end up liking one that you didn't even think that you were gonna like.
Yeah, right? You go back and choose the whole other
No,
photo.
what? That one's actually nice.
It's confusing. But, I mean, I always would like to think that I'm the type of person to, like, post the ugliest photo of me. Because I feel like I want to keep it as genuine as I possibly can. And I feel like our social medias would be much more fun if they weren't so curated. But at the same time, something in me just like stops myself from posting that photo. Oh, let's just hope that I didn't just become a meme.
I'll be a meme with you. Gang. Alright. So, I mean, if you had to pick a number of how many pictures you usually have before Instagram sees the light, it depends on the photographer, I guess, too.
I would say 28 photos, approximately 28 photos.
Sheesh,
I
I
feel like
could
that's an accurate number.
I could go through like 50, 60 pictures.
I mean, yeah, it depends, like, if it's with a professional photographer or somebody who's using a film camera.
Mm-hmm.
And they send me, like, 50 photos. But then also it's kind of easier when somebody else is, like, taking your pics when
True.
it's not a selfie. Not because the photos will come out, like, more quality or whatever, but because it's easier to eliminate what you don't want, I think. Like, if I'm going through photos that a photographer sent me, I automatically can see, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. But when it's like my own selfies, I'm like holding myself accountable. I'm like, I should have taken
It didn't look like this when I was taking it.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, you know how you look when
Yeah.
you're taking a selfie, rather than somebody caught your bad angle. Okay, whatever, screw that photo. But yeah, I'll go through a lot. I think everybody kind of does. But then again, there's those occasional times I snap a photo and I post it. And sometimes those are, like, not even good quality, or I'll post it ironically. Like, I don't post myself with filters on my feed, but if I snap, like, a really funny one where I'm just like, and I have a filter on, I'll throw that in there next to all my, like, film photography photos. But that's also because I don't personally care about what my algorithm or what my aesthetic should look like. I just kind of like that genuine, like, random funness of Instagram, where I'll also screenshot my search history and post it on my normal feed and be like, haha, look what I searched up. Or I'll post, like, a really crappy meme next to, like, a video shot in 4K, Like, it does not matter. That's why I think I don't have a crazy amount of followers, but the little group of people that do follow me,
They're very engaged.
They're super loyal and engaged. Like, I have a little fan base of just a tiny little fan base of,
I'm part of your fan club.
Me too.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah, I see all your posts most of the time, at least.
Thank you.
And I interact with your posts. I don't even be on Instagram like that, but Instagram knows I see your posts because you pop up.
Yeah.
Fire.
Did you hear or did you see that Instagram added a feature where you can like stories?
I did not hear about that, but it's so funny to me how they were talking about removing likes, and now they added another place to validate something.
I think that's so, like, being somebody who's, like, been in a toxic relationship, I think that will ruin so many relationships. Like, did you just like her? Because, you can see if your partner liked somebody's photo by going to their page and searching up their name under their posts, like, in their liked photos. But it's like, how do you know if your partner just liked that person's story? Like, you don't. So it's like, oh, crap. It opens a whole new portal of, like, it's like the difference between, when Instagram showed what people were liking, like, you remember that? You would go and you would swipe and it's like, so-and-so liked these 3 posts.
And the notifications used to show, oh my, that's OG Instagram days.
When they got rid of that, I'm sure people who had partners, like, they were stalking through that, were definitely upset.
I feel like I definitely had looked through there at some point in past relationships. Do you feel social media sees the struggles that you go through? For me, no.
That's because your whole, like, I'm not going to say brand, but your brand on social media is a bit mainstream and fabricated. Because
I don't like it.
But I know it's killing you on the inside, but I also don't think it's like, why limit yourself? But then, of course, you have so many kids following you, and, like, there's all this stuff that's just like, how could they ever know what you're truly going through? Because you partner with brands that you're not supposed to like curse with and stuff. It's just so you get this like kind of a limited like monetization type thing going on where you can't actually fully reveal yourself. That's the thing when you have a whole lot of followers. It's like that you start to slowly not be fully authentic for purposes that are beyond your control.
It just feels like you're walking on a tightrope in a sense.
Yeah.
It goes back to like cancel culture and like that girl that we were watching and
Oh
their
yeah.
situation and stuff like that. Like nobody would ever know about the situation if they didn't have
Yeah.
the platform that they have.
I mean, personally, I kind of want to break that.
Mm.
You know how Kanye, like, when he posts, he posted in all caps, and he was like, he said something like, "Who cares if I post multiple times a day? That's what this freaking, yeah, that's what this, basically this template, like what I was talking about, that's what this is made for." I've had that same thought and made that same post in my life. Like, I remember posting and being like, screw this template, straight up, I'm about to spam you guys with like 100 photos, and I posted like 100 random photos or something. I remember I deleted it, but I had this like weird feeling inside of me one day, like, we're free in here, this is a free range app. And then that's what I like about Kanye, because he recognizes that freedom, and he's not gonna be a clone or a bot, and he's not gonna take advantage of it in the normal way. He's going to break boundaries and do something that people wouldn't normally think would happen or wouldn't normally do. And I resonate with that to an extreme. Like, that is me. That's why I would say our social medias are different in the sense where even though I do have a tinier following, I will post everything that's on my mind. I will expose myself. I will, like, get kind of dirty and gritty and up close and personal in a way that I know when my follower base grows, I won't be able to anymore. It's kind of like the difference right now between, like...
But then again, it's like, will you really not be able to anymore? Like, will
No, of course I will, but, like, I was about to say, if I get, like, signed to a label right now, which is kind of, like, what might end up happening based on the way my life is going, then it's like the same thing where that label might tell me, well, we're not going to let you do this, this, and this. You can't do that for your public image. It's like you inevitably get this kind of like controlled by other people and other situations type thing going on when your platform is that large, unless you wanted to completely break the boundaries. In that case, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, will you though?
Low-key, I feel like, I know that wasn't like necessarily asking me that, but
No,
sheesh, I really feel like I'm that type of person that's gonna just like pop and
I just don't like to, I don't want to see it like bottled up.
Yeah, not in that type of way.
Yeah.
But in a sense of which, like, I know that the way that I see it is like my audience is gonna grow with me, and
Yeah.
eventually I'm gonna be at a point where it's like multiple different things tell me, hey, do what you want because you have the freedom to do what you want. And I feel like that's where Kanye's at literally right now. My dude is sitting on billions of dollars, and he's a free soul, very talented soul, and he's fairly fed up with a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love how transparent he's being with every little detail. Some people might frown upon it based on the norms, but I think it's really dope what he's doing, and I'm sure a lot of Kanye supporters are completely all for it.
Yeah.
Like, you see him like literally being open about who he just fired or what this just happened. And it's dope. I like it a lot, and that's something that I definitely want to do more of.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kanye like a lot. I feel like everybody likes Kanye because they resonate with his ideas, and he shows them a lot of stuff. People are like, wow, this guy is like... But I resonate with Kanye because I feel that way about myself. And I know Kanye feels that way about himself. And him and I would both talk about it as our ego, knowing that that's kind of a necessary thing to have that insane level of like freedom and confidence, knowing that something like Instagram is just a stupid template, platform, algorithm, whatever, like
Meant to be used.
yeah, it's meant to be used by us. So he's using Instagram, right? That's what he was doing. He used Instagram. But I feel like then again, both him and I, because I've gone on little bursts like that, but we both realize at some point that we also are a little bit emotionally, we got emotional, and like sometimes you don't need to justify yourself to people. It's not that it's bad that he shared, it's just he probably wasted his own energy in a way where like he really needed to be there for just himself, go through that with himself. But I don't think it's a problem that he posted it. I just think like it didn't damage him, but it didn't like do anything for him really. What is he trying to get out of telling these people who probably won't even understand his emotions what's going on? Nothing, like realistically nothing. And I think he posted this thing that was like, I'm sorry, I posted in all caps, like I know it could hurt people's feelings, blah blah blah. And I feel like that's kind of when that reminded me of like the calm after the storm, or that reminded me of like a psychedelic come down. It was like he was buzzing like with alignment and vibration, and posting all of that was still in alignment, and then all of a sudden it's like he came down and he was like, okay, maybe it wasn't so sensible. But it's like seeing that in Kanye is like, maybe he shouldn't have doubted himself like that. But of course the pressure of all those people will make him, I feel like the whole thing would have just gone more smoothly had he dealt with it not needing like the attention or validation or the press or whatever of other people. But it's not, I'm not hating on him. I actually completely understand him.
No way.
What?
Alright, that stopped recording. I don't know when it did, but I'd love to know when. I don't think it was too long ago. Have you ever received any hate or harassment on social media?
Hell yes. Can you use the audio of that? But yeah, I think when I was like maybe in 6th or 7th grade, there was a group of girls who pretended to be my friends, but then they made an entire hate page against me, and I just knew it was them. I didn't know who it was. I just knew it was the entire group because they had photos of me that they had taken themselves, and they posted them straight up, not caring. And then also, of course, I feel like I don't get as many people commenting about my looks unless it's like, you're short as hell. Maybe I've gotten that, but I think I more so get like, you're a slut, you're a hoe. Like things that a lot of people who express their sexuality or just women in general get a lot, just this kind of like sexualization. And I feel like in a way that is bullying. Like when you say stuff like that, it's really hurtful. It's like, just goes back to like, why is it even your business who I sleep with? On top of the fact that I don't sleep with many people, it's just, it's all just like people being angry and insecure in their own way.
And verbalizing it, expressing it onto you.
Exactly. So I kind of stopped taking it personally. I think like if I had like a viral TikTok or something, I stopped reading the comments. You kind of just have to let social media be about you, what you want to do, what you like, and then everything will fall into place from there. You'll have a bunch of supportive people if you just stay genuine, and then the haters will be easy to ignore because you're backed up by all these people who actually like who you genuinely are.
I was gonna ask you how that's ever affected you, but you responded in the right way.
I think it affects somebody inevitably until they decide, I'm not going to let this affect me.
Change the way, yeah.
And it's easier said than done, of course. You can't just wake up and be like, fuck all the haters. I mean, you can, but it's especially somebody who's getting severely bullied. I can't see how they could just shut it out. It starts to bleed onto into real life. So it does this crossover from what's on your screen to what you see in the mirror. And so people don't realize that even though it's not really a real world, social media, it does affect your real world.
That is indeed true.
Were those your last two questions?
I got like, two more.
Okay.
How many of the people that you follow on social media do you actually know?
Every single person I follow, no, not every single person, but the majority I have met, or I don't know them, but like I ran into them at a photo shoot or a party and said, "What's your Instagram?" So it's not, they're not like my friends' friends, but I also started to notice that people like to follow under a certain number for like aesthetic, and I think that stems from like, let's say you have a celebrity, this is so random and these numbers aren't accurate, but let's say Bruno Mars has 11 million followers, right? Then he follows only 30 people because maybe he has another private account where he actually gets to follow who he wants to follow, but these celebrities follow a little amount of people because they can't follow 11 million people. You know what I'm saying? They follow a very select few people because they are exclusive people. And who they follow, every single person, Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, T-Pain, follows, all of these are random celebrities, man. I don't know where these are coming from in my head. But every single person these people follow are gonna be like clicked on. Oh, like, who's Zendaya following? And so they have to limit the number of followers. So people who want clout see that. And they're like, oh, I want to be famous. Look at these famous people. They're following nobody. Now that's the cool thing. But it's like, you don't have 3 million followers. You don't have 11. You have 2,000 followers and you're following 30 people. Like, you don't realize the only place that originated from is like the exclusiveness of celebrities, and you're not that. So it's like, it's kind of funny to watch things in that sense. So
It's like an artist trying to put out a song and be like, "Hey, yo, guys, it's a new song out now. The day the song is dropping, and it expects it to get like a million
yeah,
streams, but you're not Kanye yet. This is advice to myself too. You're not Kanye yet, and you can't just be.
you can't act like you're already there. That's why I hate this whole Hollywood. Like, I'm gonna act Hollywood. Like, I'm better than you because I have clout. It's just like, does that really measure who we are? Just how many people you follow measure how cool you are? Like, I started following over 1,000 people. Usually when I hit around 999, I would go, uh-oh, that number doesn't look too good with, in ratio to
Yeah.
how many followers I have. And then I was like, wait a sec. I'm following all these people for a reason, right? I met them on the street. I met them at a party. I met them at my school. Like, why would I go now consciously choose who to filter out unless I'm scrolling through my feed and I see something I don't like and then I unfollow the person?
True.
I don't want to go unfollow people just for the looks of it. It just seems... And then, it's ironic because all these people who do that are like, I'm so not sucked into social media. Like, I don't care. But, like, meanwhile, Kanye's over here following 7,000 people. Why? Because the same reason that he's choosing to post whenever he wants, in all caps.
Last but not least,
Getting all these white hairs everywhere.
what do you want people to know about you through your social media?
I want people to understand themselves through me. I think that's how my social media will grow because, yeah, like, I'm really cool. I have these cool ideas. I think I'm beautiful. I think I could grow up and be a star. I know I'm a star. maybe that's what I want people to know. But I only want people to know that because the way I think, the discoveries I make, the way my artwork is, the way my videos are, the way my music is, actually genuinely impacts people. I feel like there's a difference between an influencer and an influencer right? Because I grew up influencing kids. I was that kid who, like, when two kids were fighting, my teacher would say, hey, why don't you guys go talk to Isabel? And I would mediate them. And I influence them to think differently. I do change the mentality of everybody who enters my life. Like, inevitably, I will teach you something about yourself or open your mind up in some way. Not to say people can't do that back to me. I always appreciate that. But I've just noticed that a lot of influencers are brainless. Not, no offense. Like, I just really mean it. Like, it's about looks and aesthetic more than it's about.
Or how can this get more views?
Yeah.
Or what can I do to achieve more views?
And I guess it's not to say they're brainless, but those actions are more like mindless.
It's not coming from
who they actually are.
Of self.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. So I feel like I just don't want to be that. That's what I want to translate, because I'm not, like, I want to be the most genuine version of myself to show people that you don't have to be that. But I think I'm the perfect person for it because I woke up, and when I say woke up, I mean I came out of my mom this person, and I feel like I have a specific destiny and role to fulfill, which is influence people as a real life influencer, as this person who always has had immense influence on wherever I go, whether I'm in Italy and I don't even speak Italian, or if I'm in New York City where I grew up, or if I go to Pennsylvania, you know, like I have noticed my energy impact people without me even wanting it to, everywhere I go. So I feel like I just want people to feel that, but more so for themselves, because I like liking myself and I want other people to have the same confidence.
The more that people understand themselves, the brighter the world will be.
Yes. Exactly.
With that being said,
we went overtime.
I mean, shit. Most of us all have FOMO. And there's, I guess we can say, healthier ways to use social media. And do what you got to do to keep your mind right at all. Make that your priority. If social media is having an effect on your mind, change the way that you use it, or completely dead it if you don't need it. If keeping in contact with your friends is a concern, get their numbers or find another platform to message them on.
I had a flip phone for a few years just because I wanted to get off social media.
How was that?
It makes you feel insane because you're outside and everybody's looking at this square, and then all of a sudden, because you broke away from the addiction, it's like you're in a world of robots. And you're just like, whoa. Like, it's like you're opening your eyes for the first time. So I recommend getting a flip phone if you truly want to be off social media without bluffing about it, without just saying it and not doing it, then that's the way.
Gotcha. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Go stream FOMO out now everywhere. Boom. Much love. Also,
is that camera still on?
Yeah, thankfully.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun. That's all I gotta say. Make sure you join the fam. JUFU's Laboratory. We outside. Gang. Love you guys.